to a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here? Took a hold of her life.
A new intro. It's about damn time, right? Well, yeah, you're right. I finally got it done. So, it only took me forever to do it. I mean, I had the same link or what was it? Quote of the week. It was only the same quote of the week for the last 6 months. Yeesh. So anyway, hey everybody, my name is Zach, president and founder, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the pACT channels. Yeah. So, you just had a black screen, huh, Daniel? Oh boy. Oh, okay. Now clocks. Good. Got it. So yeah, we want to welcome you to the show. It is our mid-month fundraiser for rescue residents. And if you guys were unable to join us the first Wednesday of the month, which was ironically, I believe it was the first, you're going to learn a lot of really cool things about this organization. We're here with the founder of the organization, Daniel Bello, and of course, Stephanie Samos, the goddess of the grape. Every time that you use the QR code, this QR code right here, every time that you use that, 10% of your purchase of any One Hope wine will go to their program. So, and you will be learning more about the program. One of the other new additions that we've got is we are being joined on two new networks. We're being joined on Stephanie Samos' page. Hello, everybody. My name is Zach. Your beautiful host will be with you in just a moment. And we are also being joined on the YouTube channel of Rescue Residents. So for those of you who do not know me, I run a company called Community Pay It Forward. And what we do is we try to help people simply by asking you to shop with our local partner, or with our small to medium partners all over the world. They give us a referral, and that referral percentage of it goes to causes that you love and support. So we are, as soon as this portion of the show is done, we're going to be playing an hour of the 22-hour podcast. The 22-hour podcast about veteran suicide. And this was a very, very busy hour. I kept it going a little bit because we've got our great friends at Healing Warriors. Janet is going to be on, Scott O'Sullivan, who you just saw the new spot for. We also have Mr. Z and more coming on right after the first segment here. So we have got just so much going on. And so I'm going to shut my mouth now, and I'm going to bring on the real reason why people would actually come onto this show. The goddess of the great, Mrs. Stephanie Samos. Hey, Steph, how you doing?
I'm doing great, Zach. Glad to be here. How are you?
Doing okay. Been an interesting week.
Same here. But I'm really excited to hear from Daniel.
Little interesting week. I can no longer say I've never had COVID. So, but thing is, it actually, I got lucky. The only thing that I've suffered with is due to my constant migraine headaches and the sinus pressure. That was terrible. That was something that I'd really rather never have to deal with again. But other than that, it's been really quite okay. So I
hope you feel better.
Well,
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm getting better every day, and I'm definitely on the other side of it. But we'll get through this. So, and how are you feeling, Mommy?
I'm chugging right along. Just like you said before, you got to keep moving, got to keep, the show must go on, right? So here we are. Thank you for asking.
Other people need our help, so we're going to continue to do what we're doing. So why don't you go on ahead and do us the honor, since you introduced him to me, and introduce our guest, please.
So excited to have Daniel Ballou and Rescue Residents on the show tonight. I've been working with them for quite some time now, and it's just so cool to see the progress that the organization is making. So, but I don't want to say too much. I want him to share. So let's bring him on.
And bam, and there he is.
Hello.
How you doing, Daniel?
Good. So just finishing up the workday here. I'm still an active duty Marine, so I'm actually at the schoolhouse using my a space that's not being used today. So I'm sitting up here, just kind of getting a chance to get on here and not be driving this time. So I didn't want to end up with the whole truck situation like last time. So I figured I'd make sure to set it up and go through this here today, and then I'll probably watch the second half on my drive home. So,
how are you guys doing? Are you guys part of it are you guys still buried under snow, or?
Oh, no. Yeah, no, that's like a 1-day thing. So yeah, the town of 29 Palms did get a pretty good amount of snow this year for the first time in quite a while. They'll get snow every couple of years, but it's usually really, really light. This was these were big flakes. I grew up in an area that gets snow, and there was some sizable flakes. So it stuck for a couple hours. That was about it.
Well, I know that I've been watching the news, and I've been seeing places there in California where people, it's just going to take them quite a while to dig their way out of it. And so you've kind of been on my mind in that aspect. And I've been meaning to reach out and make sure that you were okay. But of course, I've got, my own cross to bear right now. So it was like I didn't want to give you a computer virus by hooking up with you. No, that was terrible.
Yeah. No. Around here, it's high desert. So even when it does snow, it's usually sticks a day or two and then it's gone. I have family in the Pacific Northwest that did get hit pretty hard with a winter storm compared to what they normally get. So that's been an interesting one, keeping up with everybody who is and it's definitely one of those, it's late. It's like mid-March. What are we doing? We're still dumping snow like this. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I was just telling Stephanie that there's times that we just get surprised. And I remember a couple of years ago, 3rd of July, and we got one of the heaviest snows we ever had. And it was heavy enough to where it was tearing. It was pulling in roofs and knocking huge limbs of trees down and stuff like that. And it was shocking that, we're sitting there and we had been through a week of 90, degree weather. And then all of a sudden, we're in a blizzard and people we just really went through some difficult times. But so Daniel, please, the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit more about Rescue Residents.
Sure. So Stephanie mentioned watching the progress, and the being on this end of it, part of the frustrating thing is I know it will take a while to build a system I'm planning to, that will have the potential to make this long-term impact, not just a single act impact. And so it feels slow. It's been a year and a couple months since I got started. I started in December, basically, of 2021, built the organization. I obviously started some research, did a whole lot of the prep work stuff, but the organization officially was founded December of 2021. And from then till now, I'm only just now finally starting to take everything out of the inside of our very first ambulance to be able to convert it over into a home. And so that kind of segues to for those who didn't get to see the first one, the whole concept is a holistic program to help support veterans currently experiencing homelessness, to go all the way from first meeting them and conducting interviews and helping with outreach, identifying those who will be really good fits for our program, because it's not a good fit for everybody, all the way to the point where they've moved away from where they're currently experiencing homelessness into a new job and a new life in a new location somewhere in the country. And part of that process includes living in at first to where they experience and really get to know the insides of these ambulances converted over into tiny homes, and then designing and building one with our team. And all along the way, they're going through personal focused development to make sure that they're personally ready to move into that phase. And then also a job preparedness phase where they are learning a new trade skill and getting ready to actually move into some kind of new job and finding that job and getting resume training and kind of really the whole thing, everything you possibly think of that we would need from start to finish. Because one of the key pieces I think are missing from a lot of programs is that when you are identified as and are pulled into a program and like provide support to get up out of being homeless, the situation is usually you're still nearby. You're still somewhere close to your area where you were experiencing homelessness. It's either the same town or same city, and in a lot of cases, probably even the same neighborhoods. And so access to the same people, you're probably still friends and in a lot of the same relationships with people who helped you to be in that situation to begin with. And they're not going to probably help you get on your feet. They're probably going to help pull you back down, if anything. So what I believe one of the things that a program needs to be available for people to say, I'm willing to do that right now, is to step completely away from the situation in the neighborhood and the family that is there that's pulling you down potentially, and move into a new stage where, like, for a period of time at least, you will start on your own in a new place and really get on your feet before you've built that self-confidence to say, like, I don't think I'll end up back on the streets again, and I can really move forward to that new life. So that's kind of where we are with this one. Is we're finally to where I'm like actually pulling things apart and going to be soon, hopefully, starting to build things back in. So I'm looking at how do I purchase some solar panels, power, like DC to AC inverters, battery charge managers, and then actual battery systems, just to be able to have the core like power system in place before I then look at installing lights and water and bathrooms and stuff like that. So I could show a little bit of progress, I guess.
You guys are doing, Daniel.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, we can do that in just a second. One of the things that I wanted to bring up, though, is I love in your program where it's not just giving them a home. You're actually giving them a chance to make it their home. They get a chance to take in and put their fingerprints on this. You know as well as I do is that if you give somebody something, they're going to appreciate it, maybe. If you actually expect them to do something to earn it, you know they're going to appreciate it more. What are some of the things that you're asking them to join you in doing and teaching them along with? And I know that you just mentioned some of them, but what are some of the things that they're learning with the construction of these tiny homes?
Okay, yeah. So even more than just like the construction piece too. So it's going to be a full community of people living together in a single place where the workshop happens to also be. So the current location we're working on has space, and the plan is to build out 6 permanently resident, basically, ambulances. So those will be ones that stay with us, right? They won't necessarily move on with someone else. The first 6 we build will be for people to be in the program and living on site. So that site will include a bathroom facility. It'll include a dining facility and like normal grounds. So even just the upkeep of the normal facility is going to be on all of us to do. It's going to be a whole community effort. So preparing food in the evening for everybody's meals is going to be everybody coming together to actually prepare that meal together. So it's going to be partially that, right? So there'll be cooking skills. They'll be living in the tiny homes themselves. Will also teach you about your power consumption and your water consumption and the other things that you're going to have to kind of manage as you understand, like, I have 30 gallons of water. If I take a 30-minute shower, it's actually probably not impossible for me to take that long of a shower, right? If you have to understand, like, I'm going to use up all my water if I do that, and then I won't have water to drink or wash dishes or cook food with. So you have to really know what your systems are. So be able to monitor and manage all of those resources on your own in that home, separate from what we're kind of, a lot of people are used to, where you kind of have infinite water supply and you have infinite electricity. And that's not going to be the case in these small things. You're going to have to look at your power consumption and say, maybe I need to turn off these things or those things so that I can make it through the day to day and get some charge tomorrow. So that you got to kind of really look at it and think about those things. So while they're going through the early stages, it's really going to be very self-focused. So it'll be attending like mental health counseling or drug abuse counseling. One of the big ones we've been talking about a lot is partnering with yoga programs, right? So to be able to do yoga on a regular basis throughout the week, just to really try to center mind and body together so that you can help maybe get through whatever the rest of those pressures are. And I know that a lot of people, especially those living in a van life type scenario will a lot of times be able to go to a really nice location and do some yoga. And that really helps you really appreciate where you are and what you're doing. And another is we're partnered with an organization that's nearby to us here in Joshua Tree area. And it's a Mustang ranch. And he does a lot of equine therapy for people who are dealing with any kind of trauma, and that connection that they establish with those horses really helps them get through the challenges they're facing in their own personal life. So beyond just the trade skills and the experience of living in it, just being around people, we're going to have weekly sessions where they produce like a recorded video interview that will be published to YouTube to kind of tell their story for the week, what it was they did, what they've been working on, challenges they've been facing. So as people go through our programs, those who are following our YouTube channel, and for those who are watching now, like these are things that will come in the future where they'll be telling their story as they go through, and people will be able to keep up with them and follow their story. And our goal, our hope is that as they get through that experience with us, we'll help them create their own YouTube channel and help them keep telling that story as they go forward into that new life. Because I know I'm going to want to follow where our participants are going and what their experiences are, and hopefully some of the adventures they have. Like the idea of taking these ambulances into new places in the country and getting to see things that maybe they've never seen in their whole life. We can all go with them on that adventure is just something that excites the heck out of me. So stuff like that, they're going to get those real tangible trade skills. But I think a lot of it's those personal relationships they're going to get with the people who are going to be a part of our program as participants, but also those kind of like working to help build the system, and then those who are just supporting us for specific training. So I think they'll be able to get a lot out of all of those things.
You know, the first thought that I hear a lot is people are saying, well, an ambulance isn't very big. Man, I was an over-the-road trucker. Okay. And I lived in the back of a truck. And that's a heck of a lot smaller than the space that you're looking at. And, you know, and then you look at like pop-up tents or pop-up trailers and stuff like that. You got more room than you do in one of those as well. This is actually an opportunity to really do something and to create something. And you've got a couple examples of other people's work, as you said in the last show, but you got a couple examples right there on your website of what can be done. And I think they're beautiful. I think that it's so innovative, and I think it's wonderful. And the possibilities are really endless, aren't they?
Yeah. And like, so to the size piece first, right? So it was a very key consideration as I went through the feasibility as to whether or not this even made sense as a program, like, and the long-term longevity of it. So for veterans experiencing homelessness, they can receive support in order to pay for housing through a program called HUD-VASH, right? So it's a partnership between the VA and HUD. So they can receive a voucher to basically pay for some housing anywhere that will accept those HUD-VASH vouchers. So one of my key concerns was, is this supportable for us long-term to be able to run a program where while participants are with us and living in our spaces and living inside an ambulance, can they still receive HUD-VASH vouchers to be able to pay for living on our site? And then hopefully potentially to continue to help them have funds to pay off whatever's left for building out their ambulance, and then potentially to pay for campground spots or wherever else they are as they're getting themselves really set up. So one of the kind of key pieces of this is there's a chart right there, like the way the VA or anything government does. Here's all the categories of size and chart, and this category pays out this. So one of those things is a single room occupancy. And that concept basically would be like a dorm room in college, or if you were looking at like you had a motel space and they're small and you wanted to get all of those rooms or something along those lines, then those are considered single room occupancy. And then some of the guidelines for me was like, for every 6 of those rooms, there also needs to be like a common use shower and toilet. So there's like, so for each of the 6 rooms you have, you'd have to have at least 1 toilet and 1 shower. So like a dorm room, a lot of times they don't have their own bathroom and shower. So there's single room space, just basically your bed, probably like a closet or something, right? And then they would have those shared bathroom facilities. So the minimum square footage to qualify as single room occupancy is 110 square feet. So that's a pretty small amount of space. So the smallest ambulances, then the category that we're looking at being able to pull from retirement, is 112 square feet. So they just make it over what would normally be considered single room occupancy. And we'll also still be planning to build in some kind of a camping toilet. My personal recommendation is to do composting toilets, but there's other options. And that's going to be one of those features that they can kind of choose. Are you someone who wants to have a tank that you got to deal with finding a place to dump it? Or do you want to have, a composting toilet that you can pretty much dump anywhere where it's green? So, and then they'll also have a small shower space. So if you really need to, you can take a shower. They'll have options to either build the space and take up square footage inside with shower, or set it all up so that you could have an outside shower space. Just depends on where you're going. If you're going to, northern Michigan, outside shower, probably not a good option. So we can kind of look at those things. Right?
Come on.
And then the second part of what you said. So you said size, and then something about just like how nice these can be, right? So the idea of it being really, really nice spaces. So I have options, and I think most people would kind of want us to lean towards make it a livable space for the cheapest amount possible. Like, it doesn't matter, as long as you can get someone off the streets and into a space, that's really what we should be going for. But what I don't want this to be is basically just moving from one tent on a street into a compound in basically what is a tent. And I want these to be nice spaces. I want this to be a space that you could see the potential in when you're staying in ours, so that they then make solid choices when they're designing out their own as well. And yeah, you can absolutely put really nice stove oven combos. If for you, absolutely cooking a pizza every single week inside your oven, inside your thing is a requirement, then we make sure that the oven takes up some space, and maybe we figure out how to do trade space to other things. So maybe you don't need as big of a sink. You must have the oven. You can have to have a smaller sink. Like, these are choices they're going to get to make. And I think these are things that people who are learning to kind of come back from what they're dealing with, having been someone who's been through it, making these kinds of decisions as you go through that and owning your own future is a huge step to really moving into that next stage in their life.
Okay. You said that you had a video that you'd like to share with us.
Yeah, so it's kind of two, because I clicked on the wrong one when we were talking earlier, because I saw live drone footage, or my drone footage stuff from some of the events I attend. So I go to Love Local CV and other local events to kind of talk about our mission and what it is we're doing. And I fly the drone every once in a while. And I got some footage of basically after I'd put the awning on, but it still had not been wrapped. And then this last weekend, I was able to get one where it was wrapped. So I can pull those up and show them pretty quick. I think if I do, it's probably going to do some weird choppy stuff here in a second. Share screen. So this is probably, like I said, it's gonna get weird. We'll do that. Hit share, and I'm gonna play this. So this is some drone footage. You're probably seeing it like the tab, so I can probably go full screen. How's that look?
Looks great.
Okay, so yeah, this is just flying the drone around at a local event. So you can see this was for Veterans Day in November. They had military trucks out there from the pACT Museum, which was super cool. And so this was what the ambulance looked like. I think, let me see if I can find so this is a pretty good shot of it. And it's still unwrapped. I had started putting some vinyl on the front ends there, but it pretty much just looks like an ambulance where I had stripped most of the logos and stuff off of it. So it is still the standard base white color, and then had those gray stripes on it, which were all paint. And that is basically what it looked like when I got it, except it had a lot of decals. And anybody who's watching off of our channel or has come over from any of the like popular ambulance build channels, taking decals off of an ambulance, they know, like, is a difficult task. It is way harder than you would think. Like, it's not just scraping off a couple stickers. Generally, they are very well stuck on. There are lots of different strategies, and none of them are great. They are all very challenging and difficult. You can still see some yellow striping along the back there. So that was some of the original stuff. So I'm going to pause that one so you can kind of see what's got going on there. Actually, it might even do the other side so you can see where some of the logo stuff was. I think we go around the other side. It still had some logos on it at this point, I think, a little bit on the far side. So this is the location too, by the way. So this is in Indian Wells in Southern California. They were out there for a big show. These are all Corvettes that I was doing some flyby on there. So you can see some of that too. So this was kind of a big part of what the event was, is these guys with their Corvettes come out there. It's pretty nice. All right. So let me show you what it looked like this last weekend. We go back a little and let me pull up. This was the most recent footage we put up on the channel. It's got a little bit of music. Hopefully it doesn't. Sorry, keep flipping back and forth. So this is overall the event, and then there's some decent footage of the ambulance itself as it goes. Let me see if I can figure out where that's at. It's getting there. So that's what it looks like now.
Oh, wow.
Looking pretty good. Top is still, going to be the plain color. It's just the paint that was there. Didn't see a reason to wrap the top when I'm going to end up covering it with a frame and solar panels and vents and all kinds of other stuff. So vinyl wrap's expensive. Figured didn't want to have to do anything extra if I didn't have to. So that was that. As far as what the ambulance looks like, so I can probably go like to right here and pause it. So yeah, that's it. Vinyl wrapped, and I can go ahead and stop sharing, I guess.
What was the main question asked by people that came to your booth?
So I'm gonna. Oh, hey, hold on, I'm still playing. Let me turn that off so we don't end up with a bunch of extra weird music playing in the background. So I did get one weird one, so I want to address that first. And someone was sitting at another booth nearby and fell out of their chair and hit their head, and they come running over to see if we were able to provide medical aid. So that's going to happen to people. And I know that's like one of the things they see an ambulance. They're like, can you help us? I was like, so I have a first aid kit, and the guy who was standing there happened to be a nurse actually. So I was like, here's my first aid kit. And he went over to help. So like, I'm not a medical professional, and the folks who are going to be living in ours aren't, but I think no matter what we do, like that clearly is wrapped in a way that does not look like an ambulance, but it still looks like an ambulance. So they come over. Yeah. And that's kind of the immediate response. So I did have a pretty good one, which was like, are we doing any kind of questionnaires? So there's a lot of websites that can basically answer a bunch of questions that kind of determines your strengths and where you might be best fitted to go into any kind of a profession. So that might help guide them. Because one of the concerns this person had was if we say, hey, what's a trade skill you want? They might not know. Like they may have literally no idea what would be a good thing going forward. And so her idea was basically maybe start off by having them do some of these like personality tests and a couple of different options to help them kind of be guided into a profession that might work really well for them. So I thought that was a really good tip, and we wrote a lot of that down. And I guess the most common kind of question we get is like, what can I do to help? And unfortunately, like right now, the real answer is like money. I know it's like a terrible thing, Mike, but right now we're at a stage where I'm building everything. It's an early start. We're just trying to put stuff together. At some point in the not too distant future, there'll be plenty of time for people to come up and like help cut stuff out of ambulances and help build cabinets inside spaces and paint things and do other stuff. But like right now, most of the volunteer work is non-existent, or it's me and 2 or 3 other people. You can only cram so many people inside an ambulance if you're trying to do, work to pull the stuff out. So like, if you look at the video we posted right before the drone footage, it was us, taking all the stuff out of the ambulance that day. And it's me and 1 volunteer and my daughter with me. And it really could not have fit more people inside that ambulance to be able to do that kind of work. Now, when I have 3 in an assembly line process and 1 is doing installs and 1 is doing, the removals, and the other is like working on the engines. And now I need engine mechanic volunteers, and, there'll be lots of options for that kind of stuff. Right now, we're genuinely at the, like, I'm trying to build stuff up phase. So the best thing people could do would be join on Patreon. So commit to like giving a small amount each month. To me, that's better than most of us can't afford to give me $10,000 right now so that I can go buy this ambulance that is $45,000 worth of vehicle and home already ready to go. Can't just like outright do that. But knowing long-term that we can each give a little bit each month. And then if we get a lot of us doing that, it helps me budget and helps me build things out and helps us really have an impact on what we can do going forward with a real solid plan. So committing to like a small amount each month for us on Patreon is actually better than a lot of other options.
Okay. Are you hoping that eventually this turns into, okay, well, I've got mine built. I would like to continue to help you build for others, to where there's like the communities help build themselves?
Yeah. So honestly, like knowing that, like diesel engine mechanic is going to be one of those trade skills I need early on to hire somebody into. I'm going to hopefully be able to encourage someone who comes in as one of our first, 2 or 3 program participants to go into that kind of a trade skill. Like, hey, let's check this out. Let's see if that's an option we can get you trained on. And then as they're looking across the country towards looking to find all these jobs, be like, hey, by the way, can I hire you? You can just stay here in the one you're designing. We have spaces for you to park your own. And we do have a plan to have 2 separate from like the process homes, but have like 2 RV-ish parking spots for people to move into, to be hired on and like stay in each location. So yeah, I do think there's opportunity for them to identify a trade skill that will help us build each one of these out and then come right back into the program. And again, maybe they only do it for 6 months or for a year, and then they can go on to a new location, but they felt like they wanted to get back. That could work. And then if this really, really grew, because I do think expansion to each major metropolitan area is kind of a need as the need is identified, and as the expansion becomes an option, they could move into that new one too. Like, hey, you just went through the process and we're going to open a new one across the country here. Would you like to go over there and help them get that place set up with us? I totally see that being a really good option because they just went through the whole program. They'll definitely be able to help coach somebody through it. And then as I look towards the future of this, and while right now our focus is on a community that I can connect with better than others, which is specifically targeting veterans experiencing homelessness, I see us expanding to the point where we can just help anybody who's a good fit and knows that they want to just leave whatever they're doing currently behind and join into the programs, move somewhere else in the country with a new trade skill. I don't see why at some point this wouldn't expand beyond veteran specific focused, and then open the aperture a bit and let more people who are experiencing homelessness into the programs.
How do people get a hold of you, Daniel? And just before you do that, Stephanie dropped off for a second. Hopefully we'll get her back. She has been experiencing storms in her neck of the woods, so internet is a little freaky. I think my internet's been a little bit freaky as well, but that's because it's like 70 degrees here in Colorado, and we apparently can't remember what to do when it's this warm outside. So but hopefully we'll get Stephanie back on with us here real quick. But how did they get a hold of you?
So go ahead. Oh, she's back in. There we go. So I would say that the easiest thing to do would be to go to our website. So our website is right there on the page, rescueresidents.org, right? And at the top of it will be listings of all of our social media accounts. So if you're on a mobile device, there's a little plus sign at the top. You got to hit the plus sign, and it's going to give you an open menu to kind of go through all the stuff. All of our social media accounts are on there. And then so whichever one you prefer to use would be the one I would recommend you go to. So if it's on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or LinkedIn, like you can message on there and I will get that. Ideally, probably if you wanted me to pick one, I would say contact us on Instagram. So we post a lot more information on Instagram because a lot of what I'm doing right now is very short form. It's what I can manage to snap a picture of or record a really quick video clip while I'm doing something else, because we don't have dedicated staff for our video stuff or for social media. So right now it's kind of whatever I can manage to do. And Instagram is really good for the short form stuff. I know TikTok's really good too, but I basically am just cross posting stuff between TikTok and Instagram. You can message on Facebook. But I will say, like, Instagram messaging seems to come through a little bit easier. The new Facebook messaging and how it pairs with pages doesn't really work as well. Instagram gets it to you pretty quick, and I get those pretty easily. And honestly, I'm trying to kind of grow the Instagram followers. We're at almost 400. I think we're at like 370 something. So I'm thinking I might come up with something where, what are we going to do when we hit 500? I think I'd like to figure out basically kind of the way people can sponsor people for like a certain number of miles or whatever. So if I can get some people to say, hey, we will donate this much whenever you hit 500, maybe we can get more people to share that and get more donors in, specifically based on, like, I'm not donating right now, but I'll pledge to donate. Basically, that's what it's called. Yeah. Pledge to donate when you hit 500, I'll donate this amount. So I'm kind of thinking about that as an option, but if anybody has any better ideas on what to do at 500, we can definitely do that too. Email, I think, is not really listed up there, but that's always an option. And I'm at daniel.ballou, which the name was on the screen there, at rescueresidents.org. So you can get me in an email that way too.
And of course, there's always an email place, usually at the bottom.
Yep. So there's contact us information down there. Yep. It's got the information there about our EIN and everything else too. So if you're looking for us on other platforms, that's usually one of the easiest ways. Sometimes when you do the search, it's hard to find certain organizations, but EIN pretty much always comes up if you use Benevity or Network for Good or any of the other ones. Like when you were looking on when it was still around, Amazon Smile, but that no longer is an option. So,
no, I did not know that. So learn something.
As of I think March 5th or something like that, Amazon Smile stopped functioning the way that it was before. Amazon wants to kind of dedicate themselves to specific categories of support that they feel are important, rather than letting people choose their own nonprofit support. I won't state my specific personal opinion on what.
I will. Community Pay It Forward will always let you choose your own. So I'm just going to say that right now. We'll always let you tell us who you support. I don't want to ever tell you who we support. We want you to always tell us. So one of the other huge things that people can do, Daniel, is join this right here. Correct? Join the supporters. Uh-oh. Well, I lost both of you right now. I lost everybody, Stephanie.
I don't know what's going on. I'm so sorry. Winds in the mountains after 10 inches of snow, and it's been a fun journey. So, rescue residents, it's incredible to see the journey. I've been following them for a while, and to see, oh, we're going to get our first ambulance, and seeing them, on the drive all the way there. And just hearing how he said in our last live, like, an ambulance was saving people in their first life, and now they'll be saving people in the second life. And that stuck with me, the way he explained that. I was like, that's so true, and funny that the woman came over looking for first aid at the event. It's the truth. So it's really cool to see their progress, and really cool that we get to highlight these smaller organizations. So Amazon Smile can go ahead and do what they want, but that's why I'm glad we've teamed up, Zach, because we get to choose who we bring on the show every month to highlight, to get their word out. And, that makes all the difference, is just sharing their stories. So really cool. Welcome back.
I think this is like a whack-a-mole version of our show this month. Yeah. I'm going to disappear, you're going to disappear, whatever. Well, we'll finish up this segment whenever it gets finished up, but we'll get it done in time. Stephanie, did you please ask any questions you have?
My goodness. So what's next? Like, is there anything, in your mind that you're like, ooh, over the next year? I know you just spoke about what you've accomplished over the last year, but over the next year, I'd love to be like, at X. And obviously we all know you need monetary donations to get there, but like, is there a goal in mind?
Yeah. So I set like one fundraising goal. So I'm a part of a couple of different, learning about fundraising groups. And, setting a good, so y'all maybe know this, like setting a SMART goal, right? So it's specific, measurable, all that stuff. So what I said was, and it sounds bigger than it is, but I wanted to triple the number of patrons we had that are over $25 or over, right? And so that's $25 a month or more. Well, we only have 7, right? So getting 21 people in the next year, while with the help of the rest of the board and everybody else, and them understanding that that's the goal, is reasonable, right? And it's timely and it's measurable, and it's like a very specific amount. But when you say I want to triple the number of like larger donors each month, that sounds bigger, right? So it's reasonable still, but also like is a motivating kind of goal. So that's one, would be to triple the number of $25 or more sponsors on Patreon. But like as far as the programs itself, for me, I see us having 2 ambulances converted over by the end of the year on site, and able to really bring 2 people into the programs by the end of the year. It's a bit ambitious. I know that's going to be hard, but like reasonably, I have one that we're in the process of converting ourselves by hand and doing the work and learning and practicing. How do I get all the parts and everything? But I also have options right now on getting one at a really, really great price that is already ready to go. So if I could manage to either close that deal or find a deal like it, where I've built one from scratch, but I've also managed to get one and put it on the property, so that we can have people start moving into the program and learning about what it is that we need to do in order to support them. That would be huge. And I guess one other big one, I originally planned to try to host a major event, right? Bring people together as a fundraising event at the end of last year. Because one of the unique things about Coachella Valley and the Inland Empire area of Southern California is very, very popular, similar to the way Arizona and New Mexico are for the snowbirds. So everybody kind of flocks down here during the wintertime because it's a lot nicer here. It does get cold for us, but it's a lot nicer than a lot of other places that are in deep winter, So a lot of people like to visit the area, I would say in late November and mid-December. So I was trying to host a major event as a fundraiser for us in December, which would basically each year represent also our normal birthday, since we did come around in December of 2021. So I can kind of celebrate that at the same time. Functions as a fundraiser, but also Tiny Fest just happened in Del Mar, San Diego, California this last weekend. And so Tiny Fest is an example of the kind of van life, tiny home community events that happen nationally all over the place all the time. Tiny Fest is focused on primarily the tiny home builds that are transportable. So it's a full trailer mount, basically kind of works like a travel trailer, but is designed really much like a home, like a real home. And so you could kind of park it on a property and it stays there forever. So Tiny Fest is one with that as the focus of the event. So they're the kind of highlight. The builds that are that way, they're the ones they show. There's Schoolypalooza that happens in Arizona, which is focused on like school bus builds. So if you take a school bus and convert it over to a tiny home, that's like the focus of that event. Everybody who has one absolutely plans on going to that one that year. Well, if you look, like I've scrounged, I've asked everybody, there's not one like Schoolypalooza or Tiny Fest where the focus is on ambulance builds. And people say like, hey, if I have an ambulance, I know I'm going to that one every year. And so not only does this help us as a fundraiser, but because that's the thing that we're doing, it just kind of makes sense that we could host that event for the country every year, where everybody could come down early in December and celebrate like their ambulances. We let the new builds that people have built over the last year be the highlight of the event, show our builds off, and like inspire each other to come up with new ideas for how we can build these even better. Our participants would be coming to these events. They would be a part of what it is that we're doing. And it just seems like if I could manage to still make even a small scale one, if I got 4 people with their ambulances to come and sit next to our 1 or 2 that we managed to have by the end of the year and show like, this is things they're doing. This is the kind of stuff we built. Wow, look at the way they did that. And maybe it inspires our team as we're building it to try that thing in the next build. I think that could be a big deal. So I want to see musicians there and comedians. I want to have Q&A panels with people who've done the builds themselves and people who are working in the homeless support sphere and in the veteran support sphere. Everybody who's a parts of the communities we're interfacing with coming in and showing and talking about what they've done over the last year and having Q&A panels about how do we do better? How do we go forward? So I think that would be huge for me to be able to manage to still plan that all out. But with everything else that I'm juggling, planning a major event like that is hard to do when you're on your own kind of.
So maybe some more board help and some volunteers for event planning too. I love those goals though. And really it's 1 to 2 more, sponsors per month, is the goal. And that's a realistic goal. And that's going to help you plan out for all these expenses. So if you miss that part of the show, this is what's really going to help them monetarily plan out the next phase of their builds for these veterans. So really awesome. Daniel, I know you said you had to hit the road in a little bit, so feel free. But thank you for being here.
Yeah, I'm going to stay on as long as y'all want to keep me on. And then I think as we transition to the other hour, as you mentioned, of the video stuff, I'll probably switch and then come in and watch live or listen. I'll listen live while I'm driving. I'm not going to be watching, but I'll listen.
Yeah, that's perfect. We'll leave you on, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. But we're going to turn it over to Stephanie to do her wonderful portion of this show, and she's now the entertainment. So, but Daniel, thank you for what you're doing. Keep up the great work, man. I think that I said it before. I've said it every time I've talked to you. I love what you're doing. I truly hope that you and I can work together, after this, because I think that I want to be any small part of what you're doing that we can be. We want to support things like what you're doing. I think that you're offering more than just hope. I think you're offering hope, health, job, career, and life, to people. So congratulations on what you've accomplished and everything that you're going to accomplish.
Thank you. Yeah, I look forward to working together. I know that what you're trying to do on a greater scale too has the potential for the impact across multiple communities, trying to make this kind of difference too. And that, especially with, Amazon stopping to allow people to specifically choose who they're supporting on their own and when they purchase, filling in that gap, right? So like understanding that individuals and how they spend their money should have a choice towards where that goes. If that company is going to get the tax benefit of using that as a like, because that's what Amazon does. Like they're the one donating it, so then they get it, even though you're the one who's giving up the money as the paying for your item. So I appreciate what you're doing to try to help all the nonprofits who are participating in your program as well. Yeah,
we'll keep talking about that, but Stephanie, it's all you.
Let's jump right in. Oh, so much goodness. You know, on the Amazon Smile kick, we through One Hope, we give back a lot more than what they did. It was very small percentage. I think we're at like 10 times more than what they did. And hey, just making a note here, because I don't normally talk about this on the show, but you guys, for every approximately 2 cases of wine, Rescue Residence is going to be getting a $50 donation from One Hope and an additional $25 from me personally too. So like, you know, if you drink wine, please consider filling your glass with something through this event. That's all we ask. Or gift if you don't drink wine yourself. Yeah. And Zach's pointing.
Oh, no. This is the event. That's for the event. So
So Zach was just pointing at that QR code there. If you want to check out the event page, you can open up the camera on your cell phone, hold it up to that. It will take you directly to the One Hope fundraising link for Rescue Residents. But if you're just viewing the show for the first time, I'm so rude. I didn't even introduce myself. My name is Simos. I am a cause entrepreneur with One Hope. We are a Napa Valley winery that gives back with every single bottle of wine. I'm not sure if that's me or if it's Zach. We're taking. Here we go. Can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, you're freezing, okay, but we can hear you.
All right.
And of course, as soon as I said that, we couldn't hear you no more.
All right. What I thought would be really awesome to do this evening, because I normally, go over tasting profiles and pairings and things like that. We have a flash sale that just launched. So I thought that would really be cool to highlight, just to showcase the different kinds of packs that are on sale with an additional 20% off, and just kind of show you that really for any kind of wine lover, there's a pack for you, within this sale. So with the flash sale, it is an additional 20% off. Normally, when you purchase through One Hope Wine, 4, 6, or 12 bottles, depending on how many you purchase, there is a discount with the pack. But with these select packs, an additional 20% off on top of that. So I personally love the variety. A lot of these wines that we're going to talk about are my go-tos personally, when I'm not pregnant, of course. But not only is it a great price with the flash sale, but you're supporting Rescue Residents at the same time. So let's dive in. First, low sugar reds. A lot of people are talking about, calories, sugar, all this stuff. Very, very low sugar in these wines with these reds. So if you're a red lover, in this 6-pack, it includes our Vintner Collection Pinot Noir, which I know Zach enjoys. That's one of the reds I got Zach to try, and he really liked it. So Zach is normally a sweet lover, and that's kind of an in between. I wouldn't call it sweet, but it's a lighter wine that you can serve chilled or room temperature. Also, our Vintner Collection Cabernet Sauvignon, which is delicious. It's a heavier red. So, whether you're still snowbound, like we kind of are right here. I know the last few shows I've been talking about, well, spring is coming. Well, here's a heavier red, but it also pairs well with barbecue and grilled meat. So the Cabernet is delicious. We also have our Vintner Collection red blend, which is mostly Cabernet, Merlot, and Red Zinfandel in the blend. That is our highest rated wine at 96 points. Delicious. And you're getting some reserves in this pack, which is awesome because you get to try different collections. So you're getting our Monterey County Reserve Pinot Noir, our Paso Robles Reserve Cabernet Sauvignon, which if you like a really bold, heavy cab, delicious. That's one of my best sellers for the cab lovers. And one of my personal favorites, our Hospitality Collection Red Blend. So you should try 3 collections in this pack.
Okay, we lost you there for a second, Stephanie.
Always get a little choppy.
Okay, there you are.
Low sugar whites.
All right, perfect. Oh, this weather is killing us.
We got the picture switch at least, right? So I mean,
yep.
See what we're looking at now. Got the low sugar whites.
Yep.
So I know that on our end, my wife definitely likes the white wines a little bit better, like the sweeter whites or whatever. And for me, like I kind of mentioned in the chat too, that so I'm always eating keto or kind of really keeping the carbs as low as I possibly can. So I didn't even know that they had the low sugar options. So I'm kind of interested in having to look at these when I get a chance to get home and stop and actually take a look at what the low sugar options are out there. So,
all right, Stephanie, we've got you back.
Thanks for covering my back, guys. I was just saying before, and then Daniel got kicked off. Like, we've had 10 inches of snow in the last 2 days, and high winds. We're like, there's power outages and all kinds of things going on. So I was afraid this would happen, but here we go. Let's continue. We're going to get through this, I promise. So the second pack would be our low sugar whites. So again, you get the 6-pack discount, the additional 20% off with the flash sale. You get the Vintner Collection Pinot Grigio, which is our driest white, delicious. The Vintner Collection California Sauvignon Blanc. That one has a little bit of a hint of sweetness over that Pinot Grigio. The Sonoma Coast Reserve Chardonnay. So again, you're getting some delicious reserves in this pack to try also. Arroyo Seco Chardonnay. The Rutherford Estate Sauvignon Blanc. This one is special because those grapes are grown actually at our property in Napa. We're not sourcing those grapes, so that, hence the name. But that one is delicious. And also our Sonoma Coast Rosé, which I find to be a drier rosé, but that one is also really great. So low sugar whites, that's your go-to if you are, a white drinker. I know this next one, Zach is going to be eyeing because he likes the sweet wines, but we've got our California Moscato sparkling wine. We've got our almond sparkling. And if you haven't tried that, man, it pairs well with a really good brunch. It's one of those bubblies that are really delicious for brunch time or, paired with dessert after a good dinner. So our Vintner Collection Sparkling Brut, which we talk about here a lot. That's, the one that we were just talking about pairing and pouring into the margarita wines the last time. But the bubbly is great on its own. It's good in a mimosa with your favorite juice. It's kind of one of those versatile, you want to have some at home just in case. Also a great gift. The Frizzante red wine, which Zach, I know you tried and you enjoyed.
Yes. Yeah. That was one of the first ones I did try. So, and
that one's been a hit for the sweet lovers. I would say, aside from that port dessert wine that we'll talk about in a second, I want to say that is probably our sweetest red right now. Then we also have the Moscato, which I know you both like those Moscatos, both of you. And Daniel, I know you guys tried that dessert wine, that port style dessert wine. I remember saying just a little bit because it is a heavier port style dessert wine. So it's super, super sweet, but it's one of those where, personally, I don't fill up the whole glass. Like you take just a little bit of that one and you're good to go. So that's the sweet 6-pack. So if you're the sweet lover, definitely check those out. I love the almond because I find that one's a little bit different than what you're normally used to. So next up is our award-winning 6-pack. So if you're new to One Hope, definitely want to try some of these. Our Vintner Collection, which I'll talk about next. You know what? I'll go back to that in a second. So our award-winning 6-pack, again, you're getting a reserve in here and some of our hospitality. So the Sparkling Brut, again, is in this one. Our Vintner Collection Pinot Noir, once again, really versatile with pairing with all different foods, that one. Our Red Blend, which is our highest rated wine, is in that. Our Vintner Collection Chardonnay is in this pack too. And what I like to mention about our Chardonnay is that it's barreled in stainless steel and then finished in oak. So it might be a little bit more fruit forward than most Chardonnays that you're used to. So if you normally don't drink Chardonnay, you might want to just give that a try because it's a little bit different. One of my personal favorites are Hospitality Collection Red Blend. And you're also getting the Monterey County Reserve Pinot Noir with that 4th award-winning 6-pack.
So this would be one, and like you said, this would be a great one for somebody who's never shopped with One Hope to get started with, because there's a little bit of everything in here. Red, white.
There's a little bit of everything in there. So I would say between the award-winning pack, because all of those are award-winning Napa wines in that pack, or the bestsellers pack, which I'm going to talk about next. One or the other. I feel like you're getting kind of a variety, and you're getting reds and whites in those boxes too. And the bestsellers pack, which is it's all the Vintner collection. And that's normally what I would serve for a tasting too, because it's approachable. It's like an introductory collection, but it's got something for every palate, I find, in that collection. So it's really, I like to say approachable, but Zach makes fun of me. He's like, we don't talk about beer as approachable. But with the bestsellers pack, like you can see, we've got the red blend, the sparkling brut, the Chardonnay. You've got a rosé in there. I'm going to talk about warm weather again, Zach, because I just want it to come sooner than it is. The Cabernet Sauvignon and the Pinot Grigio. So that's a really, versatile pack if you're completely brand new and you just want to try some wine. I will say, though, if you tend to like super sweet wine, like Moscato, this is probably not your best option. But if you're okay with wines being not super sweet, this gives you a nice variety.
Well, and I would never make fun of you. I just don't think I want to have to sneak up on my wine to drink it. So, I'm kind of a big old fat guy, so I don't sneak up on things very well. So,
No, I was just saying, listen, I'm a mom that likes to fundraise. I like to give back and support these organizations. I am by no means a sommelier, but I have personally sampled through these wines myself before this baby, and just in order, it's market research to be able to give the best feedback.
There you go.
Right,
there you go. I'm doing it now.
It's part
when
of the job.
I don't have COVID. I'm doing it now.
And we're going to wrap up with our founders' favorites. And this is a 12-pack.
Wow.
There is a lot in this one, you guys.
Yeah, there is.
The Vintner collection to reserves. You've got a couple of different collections in this. You also have some beautiful shimmer bottles that are great for a fun celebration or to gift also. So it's really cool that one gets included in that. So what you have in this 12-pack is our Vintner Collection Sauvignon Blanc, our Vintner Collection Rosé, our Vintner Collection Pinot Noir, the Hospitality Collection Cabernet Sauvignon, our Arroyo Seco Chardonnay, the Sonoma Coast Chardonnay, the Rutherford Estate Sauvignon Blanc, Monterey County Reserve Pinot Noir. You get that Paso Robles Reserve Cabernet. And I know I've mentioned a bunch of these in the previous packs, but this kind of brings it all together where you're getting, a really good variety. You have the Frizzante red wine, which is that sweeter red. It's not a bubbly, it's more of a fizz. And then you also have the shimmers. So you have the Brut Sparkling Rosé Pink Shimmer and the California Brut Sparkling Wine Gold Shimmer Edition in that, which, they're beautiful bottles. Even when they're empty, I save them. They could be a vase or something. They're nice to keep around. So that's our Founders Favorites 12-pack. You get the 20% off of a 12-pack that you normally would, plus an additional 20% off with the flash sale. So.
Yep, and our yellow shimmer bottle is upstairs displayed in our China hutch. So,
see, but it's memories too. So that's awesome.
So, but
One thing about wine is that it reminds you of the people you were with, the places you visited, how you felt that day. So it's really cool that you guys kept that. Oh, so exciting.
Well, it was given to us by a great friend, so we wanted to make sure that we always remembered that. And Stephanie was kind enough to gift us with one for our wedding this last June. So when it definitely was warmer than it is now. So, but anyway, so Stephanie, of course, people can always get a hold of you to find out more about these wines and more.
Absolutely. So that link tree there takes you to the Rescue Residents fundraiser. There's a link there to the Community Pay It Forward One Hope fundraising page right on Facebook, where we highlight the organizations every single month. So definitely join us on there if you haven't yet. We share some fun, recipes, tasting profiles, different launches, sales, all kinds of fun things there. And if you're sampling the wine, we would love for you to take a picture of what you're drinking with your dinner or something. Or if you try a recipe, share it there. It's definitely a page for us to all kind of come together and just support these nonprofits. So
and
absolutely.
If you look at the QR code above Stephanie, that will take you directly to our Facebook page. So you can always go there, make sure that you give us a like and share your experiences, share your recipes. Let's make this a real community page and make sure that you show that you're supporting Rescue Residents and all the other programs that we're trying to support. Once again, Stephanie and I started this last year in hopes of making a difference to wonderful organizations like Daniel's Rescue Residents and more. And, we're also looking for people who run other 501c3s that want to come and join us. So you can always talk to Stephanie and you can get a hold of her right there on her link tree. So Stephanie, you also are looking for people who like wine and want to work with wine.
Right. So, obviously we haven't donated more than $9 million by me just fundraising alone. So there are different ways that you can kind of contribute through One Hope. You can, order your wine through One Hope and be able to select the cause of choice every single purchase that you make. And if you have more than one cause that you really love, you can actually switch it in the account, like when you go to place your order, and 10% of your purchase always will go to that organization. You can connect with Zach and I, host an event, get the word out for your favorite organization. We want to talk to them. We want to hear from them. That's another way. And you can make an impact that way. And also, if you want to be like me and fundraise year round, there's opportunity for that too. So love to chat with you if you have some ideas. Would love to hear from people, to hear the organizations that they're really passionate about supporting. And Zach and I are always looking to highlight some great people on the show every month. So definitely connect with us.
There is no charge for you to come on and tell us your story. This is about you. This is about your organization and the good that you're trying to do in the community. As I've mentioned before, Community Pay It Forward makes not a dime off this. Stephanie is donating an extra $25 for every $50 sold. So, come on, we're really trying to help other people. So if you know anybody with a good heart, with a great heart, that's looking to get the word out a little bit, have them come on. Have them, like I said, go to above Stephanie's head, that little QR code there, scan that, join the page, and say, hey, I'd like to talk and tell people about our organization, and we'd like your help raising a little bit of money. So we got through it, Stephanie. It was a little bit bouncy, but
we got it done.
We did it. So I thank you very much, sweetie. I know that you're getting very, very close, closer every day, but we're going to keep going as long as we can. And I would just like to once again thank you for what you're allowing us to do with you, because you're really running this show. Without your kindness, without your partnership, we wouldn't be able to do what we're doing here. So I want to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart for being one of the best supporters.
Thank you.
So, And we'll talk to you very soon. So thank you for the great gift the other day. Hopefully next time I can sample a little some. Probably
when you're feeling a little bit better.
Yeah, probably not the best to do right now. So might forget the COVID for a little bit, but I mean, let's not push it. So
definitely join us at the top of the month next month, as we're gonna, we'll be live with another nonprofit organization. So
yep, we'll be introducing some more people who really could use your help. So thank you to Daniel and Stephanie. Thank you so very much, and we'll see you next month.
Cheers.
Goodbye. Again, I cannot thank her enough. Yeah, we noticed that Daniel dropped off the face of the earth again, and he said connection dropped. I took it as a sign it was time to go. So, very good, Daniel. We get it. He's listening on the drive. He is not watching, so just be careful on your way home. Again, thank you to Stephanie. Thank you to Daniel. Both of you guys, please keep up the great work. And please know that we're here to support you in any way possible. We might run a little bit long past the second hour, so we'll have to cut this interview if that happens, but we're going to replay it the entirety of the interview on Friday. But this was one of the hours from the 22-hour podcast when we talked for 22 hours about veteran suicide and how we can help people who are going through this conflict. And one of the very first people that we had the pleasure to talk to was Healing Warriors. Healing Warriors program. Why are we going to be talking about this? Because of this beautiful lady. Hello, Janet.
Hi, sweetie.
How are you doing?
I'm always good. You?
I'm doing good. I don't know what day it is, but I'm doing good.
I was gonna say you're still somewhat upright, so it's like yay.
Yeah, I'm okay now. A little bit earlier, I was starting to fade. I really
feeling
it. It was like, I kind of got like that. I kind of got like that second wind. Yeah, I don't do coffee, but I got that. So, but yeah. So, tell us about Healing Warriors.
So, Healing Warriors program. We are a veteran nonprofit. We are located in Fort Collins. What we do, our main mission is suicide prevention. So we do that by treating the factors that lead up to suicidal ideation. We treat for other things too, but the main things that we've targeted in on are the things that we really focus on treatment for. And it's all non-narcotic, and it's all at no cost to the veterans, their spouse/partner, and their parents. So we treat for PTSD, for traumatic brain injuries, for interpersonal trauma, for chronic pain, for sleep disorders. That's one of the easiest way to get somebody to come in the door is to ask them if they can sleep, because as well as anybody that veterans have a hard time admitting that they have issues, and or always think that there's other people worse off than them. And that's not what we're about. We're not there to judge. We're there to give you a safe space to heal from anything that you've got going on. We also have client care navigators who meet with every single client to make sure that whatever else is going on with them besides what we're treating them for. So if it's, housing, if it's financial, if it's spiritual, whatever it might be, that we can help with those resources as well.
You guys have been around for how long now?
10 years. It's our 10-year anniversary this year.
That's that is so cool. And
Over 30,000 treatments that we've done. We not only have our clinic in Fort Collins, we also do free monthly pop-up clinics in Longmont, Denver, and Colorado Springs. We treat every era, every branch of service, doesn't matter. All you need is a DD-214 or your military ID. We treat homeless, we treat active duty, we do all of the yellow ribbon events for pre and post deployment, we do all the stand down events. So we're trying to be there for whoever needs us. And we also have telehealth options for those people that might be more rural or that they can't actually travel to us, that we can reach out that way and help them too.
Things are changing due to society, what's going on in society. You guys are adding more programs and more services to people as needed. Are as an organization, are you guys finding it easy to make these adjustments, or is it kind of a little like, grab the dashboard and hold on because we don't know what this is going to go like?
No, I think we navigate all of ours pretty well, because we don't jump into anything until we are absolutely sure that there have been studies done and that we're not putting anybody at harm when we decide to add something to our program. We don't add different modalities. So the modalities that we do, we are a registered VA vendor as well. So we look at where the VA is traveling in some of these circles as well, so that the people that are going through the VA system can actually get referrals from their VA for us as well. You don't need a referral, but you can get one for acupuncture for our clinic. So because we're non-narcotic, we use modalities that we have a ton of data and efficacy studies that shown the help that acupuncture and cranial sacral work and healing touch does for military veterans, active duty, all of that, because a lot of these programs were brought out by military doctors and nurses to people being brought in off the field, and they were treating them so that they didn't have to, number one, they didn't have easy access to all the narcotics that they were going to need to treat some of these guys. So they had to figure out different methods, and this is what ended up working. So when we bring a new program on, it's after a lot of study and what can we do that integrates with the care that they already have? And so we've added a pre and post surgical series. We've added our cancer series. We have a detox series. We have an immune support series. We have a WIPSIP series, which is a wellness preventative care program for our 60 plus veterans. We have lots and lots of programs that we look at, we study, we follow the data, and then we bring it into our place when we know we're ready to handle it.
Do you guys have contact with people outside of the Colorado area who are trying to do the same thing? Is there a network within the country where there's a lot of people who are trying to do something similar? Or are you guys really kind of a pilot thing that are, getting other people's eyes on you going, I like this idea?
Yeah, part B of what you just said, we really are. We're kind of a pilot program because part of our next phase of operation is going to be our capital campaign to actually get our own building. And in that building will be a training center so that other organizations can figure out how to do what we're doing, to use the integrative modalities that we have in their practices. We don't need to teach them how to do acupuncture, cranial sacral, or healing touch. We need to teach them how to integrate that into their practices and how to do what we do. So that is part of our future plan. And no, unfortunately, there isn't that much of a network out there for what we do. We are in front of a lot of organizations because we've put ourselves in front of them and said, hey, this is what we're doing. This is what we can do to help. And so we've collaborated on some big projects for the state, through Larimer County Behavioral Health Systems. I mean, we're in front of, we got a huge VA grant this last year, the Sergeant Fox grant, which only one of 3 organizations in all of Colorado got, and we were one of them. So we're definitely getting in front of the right people and showing them that what we're doing is helping. We're not just talking about it. We're not just giving them resources. We're not talk therapy, nothing against talk therapy or anybody else, but we are actually boots on the ground making a difference every single day with these people. So that's what makes us different.
how much pushback do you get when you have, let's say, some of the older veterans, when you're trying to convince them that, hey, this, this 1,000-year-old technique of acupuncture can help release some of your stress? How much kickback do you get from that?
So here's the funny part. It's actually less pushback from the older veterans than it is from the younger ones,
Really?
because the younger ones grew up in a generation of popping pills and being medicated, and so they look for the other paths. They look for the CBD paths. They look for the cyclamen paths. They look for those paths, and that's what we're not doing. So convincing them is harder sometimes. The younger generation. We have a really good mix, though. We're about I don't remember the absolute stats. We just did we're in the middle of doing our 2022 annual report that will show us kind of what the blend is, but we're about 50-50 on the older veterans to the younger ones. So, I mean, I think it's a good blend. It is harder to convince the younger ones, but word of mouth also travels quicker with the younger ones once we do get them in. The older ones will definitely be more open to trying all of it because, again, they didn't grow up, in that generation of, having to be medicated all the time for something. I mean, pills weren't the thing back then, so they're a little more open, and they've been through a lifetime of trying all the other stuff. So to them, it's kind of like, what the hell,
Yeah.
It's like, can't hurt me any worse than I already am, So I think I think that's kind of the attitude, though, honestly.
Yeah. I would definitely do things that I would have never thought I would do when I was younger. That's for damn sure. So,
Sure.
it's like, you're gonna stick needles into my skull. It's gonna make me feel better. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah.
30 years ago, I would have been like, you're out of your damn mind. I don't want to look like Pinhead from Hellraiser. I mean, what
Exactly.
are you talking about? So
Yeah. So, I mean, I think it's a very interesting mix that's going on out there. And because of all of the opioid crisis and everything that's going on with just the prescribing of medications to these poor people over the years, we're never there to give medical advice. We integrate our therapies with whatever they're doing on a medical level, and all we do is really monitor every time they come in. We do a pain scale and a sleep scale with them to figure out what are you coming in with and then what are you leaving with. That's part of our data capture for what we're doing to make sure that the treatments that they are getting from us are making a difference. So with that, if you consistently were coming in as an 8 and we're leaving as a 6, and now all of a sudden you're coming in as a 6 and leaving as a 4, we try to have that conversation and say, hey, now that you are at this level, you may want to have a talk with your primary and get them to ratchet you down on whatever pain meds you may be on, because you're starting to self-manage your pain with the treatments that we're giving you. So like I said, we never give medical advice when it comes down to it. We definitely offer some counseling on this is where you are now, so it might be a good idea.
We're doing a lot together. We've been able to work together quite a bit, and I'm thrilled anytime that I get a chance to talk to you, because you are so busy. But one of the things that I really like to do is I love being part, albeit a small part, on what you guys do and try to help you guys out. A couple of the things that we've got going on this month in order to help what you guys are doing is on our website, which is communitypayitforward.us, community mission to rescue 22. And we've got a couple things going on, like you can watch the Mardi Gras cooking, where we've got a pampered chef party that happened this last Sunday. And we replayed it this morning, and I might even continue this. Don't tell the wife, but this might become a 21.5-hour program.
Uh-oh.
Even though I'm going to play the thing and walk away.
There you go.
So,
be napping at a corner.
Yeah, but you know what? I can do that, but we might play this again. We'll definitely continue to play it throughout the month. But anytime that you order anything from Carolyn Rasmussen, a Pampered Chef, a portion of that money comes back to us and what we're trying to do here. And you guys are one of 8 organizations that we really are trying to focus on, because every single one of us, our goal is the same, and that's trying to be there for people who a lot of times don't want to admit they need help.
Yeah.
And there's times they don't even know they need help until it's too late. And so
I have those conversations a lot, because all the different outreach events that we do, I'm always having those conversations. And like I said, sleep and pain are the 2 things that definitely will come out when you just ask, what overall is going on? Because you'll get those guys go, oh, you can't help me with anything. And I'm like, okay, so what do you have going on? And it's always some sort of either sleep or it's pain. Those are the 2 main things. And those are always it's like, come in, we can help, It doesn't cost you a thing to walk through the door and to get treatment. We do everything that we can to make sure that people don't have to pay for their treatment sessions. We have so many different grant programs, and we will slide you in from one to the next and do what we can to make sure that you don't have to pay for that, because you shouldn't have to make that choice, and you've earned it. And that's what they don't get. They don't feel deserving of having, people give them anything. And if you're going to give somebody something, if you're going to thank someone for their service, thank them by supporting organizations that are supporting those people, because some of them do get burned out on the thank you for your service thing. You get some of them that are just like, God, I want to run away from it because people are always doing it. And it's like, you want to thank them, do it the right way.
Well, and that's one of the great things that we get is we work with all these individual companies that are, they're willing to give up a referral, and we just turn that referral into a donation. We take 80% of whatever they give us, and it goes to the referral of your choice. One of the other programs that we have is the One Hope Wines event, and this time our Goddess of the Grape, she really went out there and she put a lot of them together, and you can see everything, including the Healing Warriors, right here. All you got to do is scan that code, and if you buy any wine on using that code, 10% of your purchase goes to Healing Warriors. And this is not cheap wine.
No, it's really good. I ordered some for Christmas, because after we did our podcast with her, I was just like, okay, I have to go on here, because everybody's got gifts to give out too, or you're going to somebody's for dinner. I mean, they have some really nice mixed kind of cases that you can get from them that are a really good price for the whole thing. So I was super impressed. I still have some, because again, you don't know when you're going to end up last minute going to somebody's house or going out to dinner or whatever. And it's a great thing to be able to grab one and bring it along with you.
Yeah, well, and then you can come on over here, and healingwarriorsprogram.org is right there. So you get to come on up and check out everything that they're doing. We're going to have a very, very special guest in my mind join us, Janet, because this is a guy who has been, look, I've had a lot of people who have supported me over the years. This gentleman, he has been there through all the crazy ideas I've tried. He's been one of them. He's, longtime friend, great partner. But this is Mr. Scott O'Sullivan of Scott O'Sullivan Law Firm and Ryder Justice. And now you see why I like him. Ryder Justice, you get that in there.
There
Scott,
you go.
how you doing?
Hi guys, how are you? I love what you're just talking about too. I totally agree. Help support each other. There's no competition here. We're all trying to help.
Exactly.
And that's exactly it. Scott, you're down in the Denver area, and you get to see you get to see some of the veterans that walk around in the Denver area who, they need services like Healing Warriors. When they go down and they put up one of their pop-up tents, they need these services because they don't have access to anything else. What are some of the things that you see that could really help organizations like Healing Warriors make a bigger impact in Denver? What would you like to see people do in Denver to support Healing Warriors?
Well, I think it's just really important to try to get the word out across the board. And, this is one way that you're doing it. Other ways is by different groups and organizations like yours and like Brighter Justice and other things that I'm a part of throughout the community. Is just to help get the word out so that they know these services and these organizations are available to them to help with everything that they're, maybe going through at that moment. And the more you get the word out, the more people that can help, the better.
Janet, Scott and I had a conversation the last time that we were able to go, sit down one-on-one, and we were talking about how there's a lot of times that we, as people who try to help others, there's a lot of burnout there. And we were talking about how there's times that we've got to be careful that we don't get too burned out, because there are so many people who, we're trying to help. And do you guys ever run that fear that, maybe we're overreaching?
I think it happens organically with anybody, especially when you're a nonprofit, because you're trying to do so much more with so much less all the time. So, I think that's always a risk, but I think sometimes you just have to pick your priorities too. We get invited to a million different events all the time. And for the longest time, we had a staff of about 6. And there was just no way for me to clone myself to be at everything that people wanted me to be at. So I really had to just pick and choose and pick what I felt was going to be the best advantage for us to be there for. Now we've tripled our staff. And so I have minions and I have people. And so we can spread the word a little bit easier. Because like you were saying, yes, Denver, the Springs, and Longmont all have huge populations of veterans that are always in need. And our pop-up clinics, and it's not necessarily a tent, but I just thought I'd clear you up on that one. We're at VFW Post 1 every second Saturday in Denver. So it's always at a VFW post. It's 2601, I believe, I have to always remember. It's 209 in the Springs, and it is 2601 in Longmont. So if you get on our Facebook page under events, you can see all of our pop-up clinic schedule, and it's on that same Saturday every single month at that location, and anybody can walk in. You don't need an appointment. You just walk in. You have a DD-214 military ID, we will help. And a lot of times we bring extra stuff down there too. So if we have goodie bags or if we have care kits or any of that kind of stuff, we bring that stuff with us because we know that the homeless populations are stronger in those areas. And so that's a good opportunity for us to be able to give some extra stuff at those. So yeah, burnout, that's something that's going to happen. We try not to let it happen. And overreaching, I would rather overreach and reach one person that I can help and to underreach and not hit that person. So,
and that's kind of exactly where we went with that. It's like, it gets to a point where, there's times that you feel like, damn, I could have done so much more, but I did what I did. And that's actually more of what I suffer with quite often. It's like going, geez, I wish I could do more, but you know what?
When you need volunteer help, you need to get yourself a group of volunteers who can help you, because you're trying to do everything all the time on your own.
Totally agree.
And you can't do that. That will burn you out. I have a huge network of volunteers that are huge helps. And building out those relationships with your volunteers and having those stand-up people who will just be there to go run those errands, to go pick up things from people. Because look how many times you and I have connected on me donating stuff to you, and it's always you. I want to see a volunteer come pick up stuff on occasion, because I don't want it always to be you. I love seeing you, but you need help on that level. And that's how you keep from getting yourself run ragged and getting yourself to that point where you can't help everybody, but you can if you get a better infrastructure for people to help you.
Well, what I always tell people is that I feel like we are so close. I really do. I feel like we're so close to being where we want to be. Jana, we got people like you who take and work your ass off and do what you do. And once get the word spread on what we're trying to do. There's never been an easier way to fundraise for anything. You know, we're not asking you to pull your wallet out. We're asking you to, we're asking you to shop with small to medium business. You know, we're asking you to, go and see our great sponsors like Scott and just thank him for keeping us alive. And it's truly one of those things that I really do. I think that we're so close, and I appreciate, that everybody watches out for me. You and Bart both, every time I talk to you guys.
Bart.
Oh yeah, Bart's coming on tonight. This is one of the greatest guys. Scott, I'll have to introduce you to him sometime. He is one of the greatest guys in the world, and his program is just awesome. But yeah,
biggest sweetheart ever. Yeah, I just saw him last week as we did an event over at Woodward Governor, and of course he was there. But he's my big teddy bear. I love seeing him every time.
Oh yeah. So, but Janet, I'm going to ask you one more question. I'm going to let you go because I know how busy you are, and I want to talk a little bit with Scott. When somebody comes to you, they come to you and they say, I've got this problem, and I don't know if I'm going to make it through it. How do you start the conversation with them?
Wow. I mean,
it's a small question. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. The client care navigators play a big portion of that because they're the ones who are trained to have those conversations. And depending on the level that we find them at, if they are suicidal, then we do what every organization needs to be doing, and that's, hook them up with a crisis counselor right away, or call the Veterans Crisis Hotline, the 988, and then press 1. We push that a lot, but we now have expanded our suicide prevention series, and it now also we're giving out pistol safes, which actually has a magnet on the pistol safe that is a picture frame that we want them to put any picture of anything that's going to make them take that moment to not open that pistol safe. So we're doing everything that we can on a preventative level, and then it's a matter of really just finding the right treatment series depending on why are they in that frame of mind. Is it the pain? Is it sleep? What is it that's causing them to go in that direction? So it's a tough conversation to have, but that's what our client care navigators are for. They're trained to have those conversations and to do the next steps that need to be done to get them. We haven't lost one yet. So I'm going to put that out there. We've done over 30,000 treatments. We've treated thousands of veterans and their families, and that's why it's important to bring the family units into it as well. We treat the veteran, their spouse, their partner, their parents. We bring them all into the picture because the caregivers are suffering as much as that veteran is, and it needs to be a collective when we treat these people. So we just figure out what path is the next path for these guys that we need to take. And like I said, we haven't lost one yet. So that's my claim to fame right now.
That's one of the things that people need to remember is no one suffers alone. There's always a family there that suffers with them.
Exactly. And we're trying to get them to understand that you can turn your mess into a message. It's like, yes, everybody is going through something different. It's how you come out on the other side. And we're going to make sure that you come out on the other side, whatever that takes, whether it's hooking you up with a service animal, whether it's, whatever that needs to be, getting them into social situations. We work with hundreds of other resource partners, and we try to make sure that we have direct connections with those resource partners so that if you come in and you're really just having a problem in one area, I don't want to just hand you a website. I want to be able to call up that person at that organization and say, hey, Bill, I've got Harry here who really needs some help. I need you two to hook up together and make an appointment so that we're not just saying, here, do what everybody else does. And here's a whole slew of websites to make you want to just bash your head against the wall worse than what you already are.
Yep,
so
that's one of the things that we really want to make sure that we're trying to do is, you don't leave somebody with the website, you leave somebody with a solution. So
exactly.
That's kind of the whole reason why this got started. So Janet, thank you very much for the time. Love you. We'll talk to you very, very soon. Okay.
Thanks,
HealingWarriorsProgram.org, HealingWarriorsProgram.org. Make sure you go and check it out. They're doing some great work, and they're doing great work all over Colorado. So we appreciate it. Thank you, dear.
Thanks.
Nice to meet you, Janet.
Nice to meet you, Scott.
Scott, how you doing, my friend?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, a little busy. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't even know how you're going to do this for as long as you're doing it. It like blows my mind.
yeah. Well, I guess it just kind of takes and shows you that, when you rattle your brain in a motorcycle accident, maybe not everything comes back to normal. So, but it's a cause that I really, 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 truly want to find some solution, any solution. One life, you save one life, and this, you win. You win one case for a family. It's one of those things that that there's something in it, and it was worth it. And if we can save one life, if we can start one conversation that saves a life somewhere down the road, that's what we need to do. And I think it's so important. That's the reason why I wanted to bring you in, Scott, because you are very, very uh you're one of the most thoughtful people in the world. You're involved in so many things, and I know that that our warriors, that our heroes, are something that's very high on your list. You and I have done quite a few things together for the heroes. Um, do you have any stories from heroes where was your father or anybody in your family, were they in the service?
Yeah, my dad was sort of in between Korea and Vietnam. And then just tons of friends who have served throughout all the years, especially going forward with the first Gulf War through today. So several friends over the years who left, cozy, easy lives to go do the right thing. And then all these years now as an attorney here in Colorado, helping, I sincerely don't know, dozens, 100 plus veterans and/or current service men and women. So from various levels, from as high as major general to colonel to privates. So kind of the whole gamut.
Scott, one of the reasons why I think that one of the reasons why I know for a fact that I love and respect you as much as I do is that you're not one of those television screamers. Okay. You're not on there telling us that you can win, I can win you $45 million, but I got to pay for one.
Yeah. Apparently now it's like, you got to say $1 billion, apparently.
Yeah. So that's true. But you're not one of those people. You're very low key. You stay in your lane, you do your job, you take care of people so well. And it's so refreshing, because like I've said before, those people drive me crazy. Don't tell me what you've done for somebody else. What are you going to do for my family? And I think that that's one of the reasons why I do have the respect for you, because you know what, you tell people straight up, look, this is what we're going to do, and you call them by name, not by, hey, number, docket number, this. You
Right.
Actually get to know people. So I've never had any problem when I've got to get to be able to tell people about you. I never have any reservations whatsoever on sending them to you because of that.
Well, that's very kind. And, I obviously love all the work that you're doing in the community, especially up north here in Colorado. And, I want to do one quick comment, and it was about the burnout. I think for all of us, if we're not right sort of on the edge of burnout, we're probably not trying hard enough. And I don't mean to belabor that point, but there is that fine line, and sometimes we all need that break. And that usually happens for me once every couple of years, where I get just one too many devastating calls in a row, and it really hits home, especially if it involves somebody's kid, and because I've got kids like you, and we put ourselves in those positions. But no, I appreciate it. I'm not a TV guy. I'm not that. I'm doing this a long time. Our whole goal is to help, kind of like what you said, is sort of one person at a time. I don't need to feed the beast with thousands of cases and make all this all this stuff up. And just trying to help one at a time. And I'm lucky enough that I know what I'm doing. I've been doing it a long time, and working with different organizations like yours and others that can actually help people too. Because sometimes there's only so much I can do, but there's different organizations we can put them in touch with. And take advantage of different services, because sometimes my process can take 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, depending as we sue. So it's all just sometimes it's situational. How you grew up. Sometimes it's how you're raised, and for me, it was kind of how I was raised. My mom was very much a community organizer, very much philanthropic. Worked her ass off for seniors, for the hungry, for students, and it stuck with me. Probably when I was a kid, I probably got dragged to these things and resented it, and then now as adult years later, I'm doing the same thing to my sons. And
Yep. Now it's kind of what you love. Well, I was telling you about this yesterday, and I'm extremely excited to bring on. We're going statewide now, or countrywide now. We've got a great friend of the program, Alan Holmes. He's one of our partners. How come he's not showing up there? And we got Mr. Z. Why isn't he showing up? Alan, I see you. Or maybe he's frozen. Oh, there he is. Okay. So Alan and Z, this is a great friend. Scott O'Sullivan from down in Denver. So Mr. Z is in New York, and Alan is in Los Angeles. So we're all over the country now. But Scott, tell us a little bit about Rider Justice. This, of course, is one of my loves, because of, well, it's motorcycles. So those damned motorcycles.
Yeah, I got a little pushback the other day because I talked about lane splitting apparently, and that was a no-no in Colorado. But the Rider Justice, I started it. It's now 5 or 6 years ago, and it started as the advocacy arm of my law firm. And what I mean by that is we were trying to help change laws to get phones out of people's hands while they're driving. I helped increase penalties now for the vulnerable user law. What that is motorcycle riders, bicycle riders, pedestrians, skateboarders, whatever you are, if you get hit by a car and you are seriously injured, we now have the ability to give prosecutors kickers to help make the crime worse. So rather than just a little slap on the wrist and a couple points, it's now there's potential to lose your license. So that was part of why I started Rider Justice, and now we're all over the country just trying to help riders out, but more importantly also celebrate the community. We do really fun stuff. If you ever visit my site at riderjustice.com, there's zero motorcycle accident looks or that kind of stuff. It's all more celebrating the community. I finally, during COVID, I started a new motorcycle project, and I haven't ridden it yet, but it's close to ready. I've done a restoration on an old Honda CB 360, and Zach, I'll get up there and ride with you up there with it. It's kind of turned into a brat/cafe kind of thing, so it's fun.
And so you're gonna do it, huh? You're gonna throw the leg?
I grew up riding, and part of what we talk about and what you're talking about today is trauma, right? I have different kinds of, it's not personal, thank God. For me personally, like what you went through, but I see too much all the time. Yeah. So I now basically ride up in the mountains, up by my cabin, up by Leadville for different events with some friends here and there. And it's just taking some time. Doing this for over 25 years, I've seen a lot. So, and it's hard to shut my brain off when I enter every different kind of encounter. I'm going through all the scenarios of everything I've ever done. So, don't want to turn dark, but yeah. So yes.
Yeah. Well,
the answer is yes. But doing it in a sort of different way.
There are, look, there's a fact that there are a lot of veterans on two wheels.
Absolutely.
There are a ton of veterans on two wheels. You know, when you look at it, and good thing, bad thing, whatever you want to call it, most MCs were started by veteran groups. You know,
Absolutely.
these are people who want to ride together, who there's that partnership, there's that kinship, there's that friendship. It's a group of people that when they get together, you know, and it's the same with equine therapy, Mr. Z. You know that when talking to JR, it's one of those things that when you get together, you're on that machine. There can be 100 people around you, but it's you and that machine. And the therapy on that machine is just it's wonderful. It really is. So Scott, I know that you got to get going, my friend. I know that you got a very busy day. I just want to say thank you for joining us today. There are two people on this call right now that my company would not be anything without the both of you, and I want to thank both of you for that. Because both of you guys really step up and beyond what I, you know, all the crazy stuff I've asked for over the years. You know, Scott, you've been there, and I appreciate that, my brother.
Well,
so thank you.
It's my pleasure, Zach. I really appreciate it too. I appreciate all the years that you've been trying to help people and connect people, and you know, the more we can do, you know, the more people we can help. And Mr. Z, it's very nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you too, Scott. I heard a lot of great things about you.
You're on the other coast, but we'll figure it out someday.
Someday, I'd love to hear your story. Thank you, Scott.
We'll all get it going. So,
sure.
But
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Scott, and we'll see you later. Make sure you go to Scott O'Sullivan or SullivanLawFirm.com.
Yeah, O'SullivanLawFirm.com or RiderJustice.
RiderJustice.com, or you can find them both at CommunityPayItForward.us. Find out more information about him. You ever need somebody to talk? You need a referral? I'll gladly introduce you to this man, because everybody I've ever sent to him, you know, like he says, it's a struggle. Sometimes it's a struggle, but there's not a single one of them that once that struggle's over, you know, we can help during. This man's going to help you after. So, but thank you, sir.
I appreciate that. And man, hang in there. You got a long day.
Yeah. I'm almost close to, not even close to done. So,
no,
all right, we'll talk to you later.
The zip code. Keep drinking and eating water. Or drinking water and eating some food, I meant. All right, thanks, Zach.
I'll contact you later, Scott. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
All right, we'll bring it back down. Lock down. I really did love that connection there. With, you know, we had Daniel from Residential Rescue and Janet from Healing Warriors, two wonderful healing organizations. And that's what most of these veteran organizations that we're trying to help are, is they're healing. None of these organizations are a one thing and leave it alone, okay? Every single one of these people, that when they put their heads down at night, they're still thinking of ways to try to help you. The nonprofit world is crazy that way. You know, every day, you know that you've done some good, you know that you're going to do even better, but it's crazy because you never stop thinking about what you wish you could do and how much more you wish you could do. So please, please make sure that you go on ahead and support as many of these organizations as you can, because they're homegrown. Okay. These are the small guys. Quite disappointed in some of the news that Daniel told me about Amazon Smile. That angers me that they're not going to support the little guys anymore. It's just the rich get rich, the poor get poorer. You know, it makes no sense to me why you would stop supporting. A couple of the organizations that we work with were on there. Daniel was on there. John Vogels was on there. I believe Healing Warriors was on there. Don't want to speak for sure, but now you can't support them because they're not big enough. I'm going to tell you right now, you will never be too small for us to help you. We're here because the small guys work just as hard, if not harder, than the big guys. It's really disappointing. And to you guys there at Amazon, boo on you, man. That's boo on you. That terrible. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You really should. You guys were doing something great and you guys went and screwed it up. And if somebody can give me a good reason on why, call me. Because I'd love to hear it, because I got a million other reasons why you screwed up. And these small organizations, places like Residential Rescue, like Healing Warriors, they need your support more than these big guys. And you guys cutting them out, that's bad on you. That really is. So that was very disappointing for me to hear. But you know what? Again, you're never going to be too small for us to help you here. You're never going to be too small for Stephanie and myself to take and try to help you out. We're here to help you. I want to make sure that you do check out o'sullivanlawfirm.com. You just heard from Scott, one of my dearest friends, one of my longest term friends. And as I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it a million times, I would not be here without Scott O'Sullivan. I would not be here. My company would not exist if it were not for this man. So all the thanks, all the love in the world to Scott for everything that he's done. I've been here for 7 years, trying to do this crazy thing for 7 years. Scott's been here all 7. Told me the other day he ain't going anywhere. He's going to be here, and that's it. So we've got another interview that we did. I'm just trying to figure out Apple. I'm not very good with Apple products, okay? My son makes fun of me all the time because I'm an Android guy. I can figure Android out. That's why. Actually, Samsung, not really Android, but so, you know, I am more of a Samsung guy, but I want to bring up some very, very difficult news that again this week I found out that another one of the original partners she was the one that I was helping the night that I went down on my motorcycle. I found out that she passed this week. And I want to say rest in peace, Lisa. Your friendship meant a lot to me. Community Pay It Forward is here in large part because of your friendship, your partnership, and your support. You were one of the strongest people, kindest people I ever knew. And my life is going to be lacking with your absence. Lisa Miller, I love you, and I will miss you. I ask everybody to, again, and I say this all the time, please make sure that, before you go to sleep, you make sure that you tell somebody that you love them, even if you haven't seen them in a while, because you don't know if you're ever going to see them again. This was one of those things that I had a very difficult moment this week, and I made the realization that, I've lost track of a lot of people. COVID's done that to a lot of us. We're losing a lot of people. I know I'm losing a lot of friends right now. This is my second friend in less than 6 weeks to cancer. Lost Ducky a couple weeks ago. Many of you know I came on here and I said goodbye to her as well. Those are two losses that are just heart-wrenching to me. So, but Lisa, thank you. And I will miss you. I love you. And again, thank you for your support and being here for me and Community Pay It Forward. This code right here. Scan this code, buy your wine, 2 more weeks in this month, support rescue residents. 10% of anything that you buy goes to rescue residents. You can always find these shows on communitypayitforward.us. You can always find them right here on any of the pACT channels. Folks, that's it for me. Got to get going. My time is up. Please love somebody out there because somebody out here loves you. Make sure, look, if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. No one needs to go it alone when we all come together. Thank you very much. Thank you to you all. Please make sure that you take care of each other. Folks, we're all we got. So have a great week. We'll talk to you on Friday. The rest of this interview will play on Friday, along with the first part of it as well. There's a lot in that video that you didn't get to see. So thank you to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you next week.
Stepping out of her fear, bring me home. Out alone, to show me the way. You wanna be a part of Sunset Boulevard.